Hello again, finance. Why am I so short? Ugh. Okay, hello again, finance class. We're finishing up we're finishing up the book, and we're starting in chapter 12. Let's look at page 252. As always, we're going to go over the key terms. This chapter 12 is pretty brief, and normally, since I've been splitting the test, every test that has 2 chapters in it, the problems will be cut in half pretty evenly. In this case, chapter 12 being so brief, it's only about a third of the test as opposed to half of the test. So all 4 key terms, those will be things that you need to know. We need to understand what core values are, what a legacy is, what nonprofits are, and what philanthropy is. And then another key term that's not in there is charitable organizations, because there's a key difference. We'll get to that when we get to nonprofits. Let's start with core values. Core values are traits or qualities that represent an individual's highest priorities, deeply held beliefs, and motivating forces. They are one's guiding principles. So this is akin to something that we did on our life plan, right? So those are what I believe we call them priorities on the life plan. Next, let's talk about the legacy. That's anything handed down from the past, something that someone has achieved that continues to exist after they are gone, right? So, a good legacy would be, a great-grandfather who built a home or a farmhouse that your family uses. But that's usually not the case, especially living in San Diego. This is a very metropolitan place. So maybe a legacy is a set of values or a set of discipline or a belief that has passed down through your family that everyone holds to, or maybe a tradition. So that's legacy. Next is nonprofits. Nonprofits are organizations that use money raised to achieve their goals rather than distributing them as profit. So nonprofits, if you give to a nonprofit organization, it's not necessarily that they're taking that money and giving it to the needy. That's a charitable organization, which should also be a key term, but it's not. A nonprofit organization simply takes your money and uses it to continue their operation, as opposed to using your money for their profit. So, for example, schools are nonprofits. Our school is a nonprofit organization. So whenever people donate money to our school, we use that to help keep the school running. We don't use it to increase anyone's paychecks. Next, let's talk about philanthropy. Philanthropy means love of humanity. That's the Latin. I believe it's Latin. Well, we'll talk about it when we get to that part in the video. It means love of humanity, and it's identifying and exercising one's values in giving and volunteering. So, showing your love of humanity by giving and volunteering to other human beings. Philanthropy. All right, now, that's all out of the way. Let's go ahead and start with the first video of Chapter 12. We're on page 254. We're going to be talking about false perceptions of giving.
Oftentimes, we hear about people who are hurting, families with no food, adults with no homes, kids with no parents, and it's heartbreaking. We see images of other countries where tsunamis and earthquakes have wiped out entire villages, leaving thousands of people desperate for medical care. In some places, families are even separated due to war or famine. In these moments, our world can seem so big. We might think, oh, I wish I could do something. And at the same time, realize I'm just one person. The good news is you can make a huge difference in the life of someone else, even if your action is small. In this chapter, we're going to talk about how you can make a difference in other people's lives and enrich your own life along the way. That's because one of the most important and rewarding things you can do is give. Believe it or not, giving money away produces more joy than anything money can buy. And time spent helping and serving others can be just as meaningful. There are plenty of opportunities for you to get started on your giving journey right now. So let's dive in. Maybe you're wanting to help others, but you're just not sure how to go about it. It's easy as a young adult to see someone in need, a charity you care about, a ministry that matters, but not do anything because you feel like you don't have a lot of money to give. You might even feel like it's okay not helping because it doesn't seem like you can afford it. You'll give when you're older, when you've got a bigger bank account, and that's when you'll really be able to make a difference anyway. You can actually get started right away with what you've got now. That means if you're working, you can use some of that money you earn to help someone else. Now, that's a pretty normal way to give, giving money. But there's also something even more basic, something that you bring to the table no matter how old you are or what your financial situation is. You. Start with what you have today and give of yourself by volunteering your time and talents. To do that, first you need to know what matters to you as a teenager in our world today. At times, our culture can send you the wrong message. It may feel like our world says, hey, you're a teen. All you care about is cell phones, music, and hanging out with your friends. You might begin to feel like, is this it? Does that define me? When the world holds up this picture in front of you, it's easy to get confused and think it's a mirror. You mistake our society's portrayal of teenagers as your own reflection. But don't be fooled. The reality is you are unique. So what if you decided not to believe what the world says and instead began a process of discovering the real you? I'm talking about your values, your interests, your passions, the things that make you, you. And what if you learned to channel those passions in a way that not only benefited yourself, but other people too? You would no doubt have a full, rich life. To get started, you've got to know your own heart, the things that matter to you most. Knowing what you value will help you select an organization or charity. And if you can identify your talents, you can discover more specific ways to serve. You may not have a steady income in your life right now, but that doesn't mean you have nothing to offer. Giving can be in the form of time, money, or abilities. So you might be only one person, but you can make a difference.
And musical. I play the viola.
No. I'm not gonna wait. We're gonna pause. Okay. Not gonna let myself be interrupted by teenagers. Okay. It's a really straightforward point. You should start being charitable now, especially while you're a high schooler. So the only time that I personally would recommend that someone maybe cut down on their charity time or cut down on their charitable giving is if you are in a financial crisis mode, meaning you're in a ton of debt. And you don't know how to pay it all, or actually, if you're in debt, period. If you're in debt, you probably shouldn't be in charitable mode. You're probably in need of some charity. So you should work until you get out of that debt. Once you're out of that debt, then you can hop back into charitable mode. The bright side is you're in high school. You have no debt right now, so it's a great time to build habits for the future. So definitely find the free time in your schedule. Do a time budget of your week. Figure out where you've got some free time and help out. Sometimes you can help out at church. What do you do after church other than hang out with your friends? Or let's say you've got parents who are talkers, right? And they like to hang out after church and talk to their other old friends, and you're just sitting there bored. Like, I don't know what to do. Go take out the trash or something. Help clean up after church. Volunteer like that. You can also volunteer at different places around the city. There's like homeless shelters. There's all kinds of charitable organizations that would need volunteers. Or let's say you're like, I don't want to hang out with the homeless because they're kind of gross. That's fine. If that's how you feel, I don't want you volunteering at the homeless shelter either. You're not going to be much help, right? So you could probably volunteer at the library reading books to children. That's fun if you like doing that. But the main thing is don't volunteer in something you hate. If you think homeless people are icky, don't volunteer there. They don't want you helping them if you think they're icky, right? If you hate reading, then don't volunteer at the library reading to children. Volunteer is something you enjoy. All right, now let's hear what these teenagers have to say, because it's probably so important.
Kids and music. Cello, and I like children and teaching.
I like swimming.
I can sing, I can play guitar.
Sports, video games, socializing, working out. I have a baby sister I take care of.
I play the violin. I have since middle school. I like to read and write. I'm one of those people that I have many hobbies. I'm not particularly good at one, like a jack of all trades kind of thing.
Okay, so the point is be charitable and give. We'll talk in future videos about how that's actually good for your health and leads to some good spiritual health as well. All right.